Most people don't notice the quiet person. They notice the loud ones, the confident ones, the ones who speak first, laugh the loudest, and seem to fill the room. But the quiet one, they sit slightly to the side, listening, watching, and almost everyone makes the same mistake. They assume silence means weakness. They assume the quiet person has nothing to say, nothing to offer, nothing going on inside. But what most people don't realize is that the quiet person in the room often understands everyone better than anyone else there. And one day, people suddenly realize they underestimated the wrong person. You've probably seen this before, maybe at school, maybe at work, maybe in a group of friends. There's always that one person who doesn't talk much. They don't interrupt. They don't fight for attention. They don't try to prove themselves. While everyone else is competing to be heard, they're simply observing. At first, people barely notice them, then something strange happens. Over time, people start going to them for advice, for perspective, for honesty, because the quiet person sees things others miss. They notice the tension in someone's voice, the pause before someone answers, the way someone's smile doesn't quite reach their eyes while others are busy speaking. The quiet person is learning. Here's something most people don't realize. Talking takes energy, but listening takes awareness. And the quiet person has been practicing awareness for years. When you spend more time observing than speaking, you begin to understand patterns. You notice how people react when they're nervous, how they act when they're insecure, how they hide things, how they pretend. You start to see beneath the surface, and that changes the way you understand the world. But there's another side to this, a side most people never see. Pause for a moment and think about this. How often do people truly listen to you? Not waiting for their turn to talk, not preparing their next opinion, just listening. For many quiet people, that almost never happens because the quiet person becomes the listener, the one people talk to, the one people vent to, the one who understands everyone else, but rarely gets understood in return. And over time, something interesting happens. People begin to underestimate them, not in a cruel way, just quietly. They assume the quiet person isn't ambitious, isn't confident, isn't capable of leading. They think silence means uncertainty. They mistake calmness for passivity. But silence can mean many things. Sometimes it means someone is thinking deeply. Sometimes it means someone is choosing their words carefully. And sometimes it means they simply see no reason to compete for attention because they already know something others don't. Attention is loud. Understanding is quiet. There's a reason some of the most perceptive people in the world were once considered too quiet. They weren't trying to dominate conversations, they were trying to understand them. And when you spend years observing human behavior, you become very good at reading people. You notice contradictions, you see motivations, you sense, when something feels off. And suddenly, people begin to realize something they didn't expect. The quiet person understands everyone else better than anyone understands them. Think about the last time someone underestimated you. Maybe they interrupted you. Maybe they ignored your opinion. Maybe they assumed you didn't know what you were talking about. It stings a little. But something interesting often happens next. You stop trying to prove yourself. You simply continue learning, growing, improving quietly. And while others are busy announcing their abilities, you're building yours, silently. And one day, something shifts. Maybe it happens in a meeting, maybe during a conversation, maybe during a difficult moment when everyone else is reacting emotionally. And suddenly, the quiet person speaks. Not loudly, not dramatically, just clearly. And when they do, people listen. Because when someone rarely speaks, their words carry weight. They don't waste them. They don't throw them around. They've been thinking the entire time, watching, understanding, connecting the dots others missed. And when they finally say something, it changes the entire conversation. This is the moment people realize something. Silence was never the absence of thought, it was the presence of depth. The quiet person wasn't empty. They were full, full of observations, full of understanding, full of ideas that didn't need constant validation. But here's the deeper truth. Many quiet people never set out to prove anyone wrong. They weren't trying to surprise people. They weren't trying to impress anyone. They simply preferred listening over competing, understanding over performing, depth over noise. Pause for a moment and think about the people in your life. Who is the quiet one? The one who doesn't fight for the spotlight, the one who speaks carefully, the one who notices things others overlook. That person might be the most aware person in the room, the one who understands more than they reveal, the one who sees people clearly. And if that quiet person, is you, remember this. You don't need to be the loudest voice in the room to be the strongest presence. You don't need to speak constantly to have something important to say, and you don't need everyone to understand you immediately. Because sometimes the most underestimated people are simply the ones who were paying attention the entire time, while everyone else was busy being heard.